1. Let me tell you about this 1978 Ford F-150 I found on Marketplace for $10,000. This is actually an F-100, and I've got to be straight with you. It's a pretty interesting find. The truck comes with a 351 Mehmet engine, which was Ford's modified version of their 351 Cleveland, paired with an automatic transmission. With only 3,000 miles shown, though at this age, we should probably assume the odometer has rolled over. It's worth noting that the seller says it runs and drives great. The all-white color scheme, both inside and out, gives it a clean, classic look. From what the seller shares, this isn't a project truck or a fixer-upper. It's a running, driving piece of late 70s Ford history. The 351 WEM engine, while not as celebrated as some other Ford V8s, is still a solid power plant that was commonly used in F-Series trucks of this era. At $10,000, you're looking at a classic truck market price that reflects both the current collector vehicle market and the growing popularity of vintage pickups. The seller mentions they're parting with it simply because they have too many vehicles, which is often a good sign. It suggests the truck isn't being sold due to problems. One thing to note, there's already a sale pending on this truck, so interested buyers might need to wait in line or keep looking for similar examples. As always with vehicles of this age, I'd recommend a thorough inspection before purchase, even though it appears to be in good running condition. 2. We're taking a look at a 1979 Chevrolet 1500 that's currently up for sale with an asking price of $8,000. Now, let's dive into the details. This Chevy 1500 is a classic square body short bed truck with a 350 cubic inch carburetor engine and a 4x4 drivetrain. The exterior is finished in white, while the interior sports a black color scheme. It's powered by gasoline, and the transmission is automatic, which makes it a convenient daily driver. However, it's important to note that the seller has provided some additional context about the vehicle's history. According to the description, the truck ended up in the seller's possession due to a customer not paying their bill at the mechanic shop owned by the seller. The motor was in the process of being rebuilt when this occurred. The seller assures potential buyers that they have the paperwork to back up the story and prove that the truck is registered to them. They also emphasize that they are only interested in serious inquiries and are not open to trades. While the seller doesn't explicitly mention the condition of the truck, it's crucial to keep in mind that it may require some additional work, given that the motor was in the midst of a rebuild. As with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to thoroughly inspect the truck in person and request any available maintenance records before making a decision. In summary, this 1979 Chevrolet 1500 presents an opportunity to own a classic square body truck with a 4x4 drivetrain. However, potential buyers should carefully consider the vehicle's history and current condition before proceeding with the purchase. If you're serious about this truck and have the resources to address any necessary repairs or maintenance, it could be a great addition to your collection or a reliable work vehicle. 3. We've got a real treat for you. A 1979 Chevrolet 1500 Scottsdale that's currently up for sale with an asking price of $12,000. Let's start with the basics. This Chevy C10 has been driven for 180-200 miles and comes with an automatic transmission, making it a great option for those who prefer a more laid-back driving experience. The exterior and interior both sport a classic brown color scheme, giving it a vintage look that's sure to turn heads. Under the hood, you'll find a 305 cubic inch V8 engine that runs on gasoline. Now here's where things get interesting. The seller has made some significant investments in this truck, ensuring that it's not only a looker, but also a reliable ride. They've installed a new AC compressor, evaporator, condenser, and AC lines, so you can stay cool and comfortable even on the hottest days. The front calipers and brakes have also been replaced, providing you with the stopping power you need to feel confident on the road. And with new plugs, this engine is running strong and ready to take you wherever you need to go. It's worth noting that the seller has a clean title for this vehicle, and the tags are current, so you won't have to worry about any paperwork headaches. They've also made it clear that they're not in a rush to sell and are not interested in accepting payments. So be prepared to pay the full asking price if you want to make this beauty yours. Overall, this 1979 Chevrolet 1500 Scottsdale presents a fantastic opportunity for anyone in the market for a classic truck that's been well maintained and updated with modern conveniences. The seller has been upfront about the work they've put into the vehicle, and it shows in the truck's overall condition. Of course, as with any used vehicle purchase, we always recommend taking a closer look in person and getting a professional inspection before making a final decision. But based on the information provided, this Chevy C10 seems like a solid investment for the right buyer. 4. We're going to take a closer look at a 1971 Chevrolet 1500 that's currently up for grabs at a price of $19,950. First off, let's talk about the basics. This Chevy C10 has a 350 cubic inch engine with a large cam and headers, which suggests that it's been built for performance. It also comes with a posit-traction rear end, ensuring that you'll have plenty of traction when you need it most. The truck has an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive, and it's only been driven for 10,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. Now, let's dive into the details that really make this truck stand out. The seller has clearly put a lot of work into restoring and upgrading this C10. The interior has been completely redone in a beautiful blue color that matches the exterior paint. The rear fuel tank, windshield, and rear glass have all been replaced, ensuring that everything is in top condition. The truck also rides on new tires and wheels, giving it a fresh, modern look. But the upgrades don't stop there. The seller has also replaced the doors, panels, fenders, radiator cord support, fender well, front grille, and both the front and rear bumpers. It's clear that they've spared no expense in bringing this truck back to its former glory, and then some. The seller mentions that they have receipts for all of the work that's been done, which is always a good sign. It shows that they've been meticulous about documenting the restoration process and that they're transparent about the investment they've made in the vehicle. Overall, this 1971 Chevrolet 1500 appears to be a fantastic find for anyone in the market for a classic truck that's been thoroughly restored and upgraded. The seller has put in the time and effort to make sure that every aspect of the vehicle is in top condition, and it shows in the final product. Of course, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to inspect the truck in person and take it for a test drive before making a final decision. But based on the information provided in the listing, this C10 seems like it's worth every penny of the asking price. 5. We're taking a closer look at a 1976 Dodge W200 that's currently available for sale at a price of $5,000. First, let's go over the basic details. This Dodge W200 has been driven for 94,100 miles, which is the original mileage according to the seller. It comes with an automatic transmission, making it easy to operate. The exterior is finished in a tan color, while the interior features a black color scheme. The truck runs on gasoline and has had 3 or more owners over the years. Now let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's condition. The seller mentions that the 3.18 motor is loud, which could indicate that it may need some attention or repairs. They also note that the truck has small dents, scratches, and a little bit of rust, which is to be expected given its age. However, the seller states that there is no significant damage or problems with the vehicle. It's important to keep in mind that this truck is over 45 years old, so some wear and tear is inevitable. The seller is upfront about the imperfections, mentioning that it's not in perfect condition, but still fun to drive. They also state that they're selling the truck because they only drive it once a month and don't want it to deteriorate from lack of use. On a positive note, the seller reports that the vehicle has a clean title and is fully paid off. This means that the buyer won't have to worry about any outstanding financial obligations or title issues. Overall, this 1976 Dodge W200 M8080 seems like it could be a fun project for someone who enjoys classic trucks and doesn't mind putting in a little work to address the minor issues mentioned by the seller. The all-wheel drive AWD system is a nice feature that could make it a capable off-road vehicle or a reliable workhorse. As with any used vehicle purchase, we always recommend thoroughly inspecting the truck in person and taking it for a test drive before making a final decision. It may also be wise to have a mechanic take a look at the loud motor to determine the extent of any necessary repairs. 6. We're going to take a look at a 1974 Ford F100 that's currently up for sale with an asking price of $9,500. Let's start with the basics. This Ford F100 has been driven for 98,124 miles and features an automatic transmission, making it a convenient daily driver. The exterior is finished in a classic red color, which is matched by the interior, giving it a cohesive and stylish look. Under the hood, you'll find a 390 cubic inch engine paired with a C6 transmission, providing plenty of power for both work and play. Now here's where the story gets interesting. The seller mentions that they are the second owner of this truck and that they purchased it directly from the original owner when it had just 66,000 miles on the odometer. This suggests that the truck has been well cared for throughout its life and that the seller has a good understanding of its history. The seller doesn't provide much detail about the current condition of the truck, so it's important to keep in mind that it may have some wear and tear consistent with its age and mileage. However, the fact that it's being used as a daily driver suggests that it's in good running condition and that any issues are likely to be cosmetic rather than mechanical. Of course, as with any used vehicle purchase, it's always a good idea to inspect the truck in person and take it for a test drive before making a final decision. It may also be wise to have a mechanic take a look at it to identify any potential issues that may not be immediately apparent. Overall, this 1974 Ford F100 seems like it could be a solid choice for someone in the market for a classic truck that's both stylish and functional. The fact that it's been owned by just 2 people and has a known history is a definite plus, as it suggests that it's been well maintained over the years. 7. We've got an interesting find, a 1983 Ford Bronco that's currently available for sale at a price of $6,800. First, let's address the elephant in the room. This Bronco has been driven for an astounding 757,575 miles. That's right, you heard me correctly. Over 750,000 miles. It's clear that this vehicle has seen its fair share of adventures and has likely had multiple owners throughout its lifetime. Now let's dive into the details provided by the seller. The Bronco comes with a manual transmission, which is great for those who enjoy a more engaging driving experience. The exterior is finished in a blue color, while the interior features a black color scheme. It's powered by a 302 cubic inch engine and has a 4-inch lift kit with 33-inch tires, giving it a rugged and capable appearance. The seller mentions that the Bronco runs and is currently registered and insured, so it's ready to hit the road. However, they do note that the rear window motor is not working, although both door windows are functional. They also state that the vehicle needs some small things but that you can drive it while you fix it. It's important to keep in mind that with such high mileage, this Bronco is likely to have some wear and tear and may require ongoing maintenance and repairs. The seller is upfront about this, mentioning that it needs some work, but they also suggest that it's possible to drive it while you address these issues. On a positive note, the seller reports that the vehicle is paid off, so the buyer won't have to worry about any outstanding financial obligations. They're also open to trades, which could be an option for those who have something else to offer. Overall, this 1983 Ford Bronco seems like it could be a fun project for someone who's willing to put in the work to keep it running smoothly. It's got a lot of character and history, and with the right care and attention, it could make for a unique and capable off-road vehicle. 8. We're going to take a closer look at a 1969 Ford Ranchero that's currently up for grabs at a price of $7,200 or best offer. First off, let's talk about the basics. This Ranchero has been driven for 100,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It comes equipped with an automatic C6 transmission, making it easy to drive. The exterior is finished in a sleek black color, giving it a classic and timeless look. Now, let's dive into the details that really make this Ranchero stand out. Under the hood, you'll find a cammed 302 cubic inch engine, which suggests that it's been built for performance. The seller also mentions that it has a brand new Holley 600 CFM carburetor, ensuring that the engine is running at its best. The seller states that the Ranchero runs and drives really well, which is always a good sign. They also mention that it comes with a clean Florida title in hand, so the buyer won't have to worry about any paperwork issues. It's worth noting that the seller doesn't provide any information about the interior color or condition, so that's something to keep in mind when considering this vehicle. However, they do state that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems, which is reassuring. One interesting aspect of this listing is that the seller is open to trades. They ask, "What you got?" which suggests that they're willing to consider a wide range of trade options. This could be a great opportunity for someone who has something else to offer in exchange for this classic Ranchero. Overall, this 1969 Ford Ranchero seems like a solid find for anyone in the market for a vintage vehicle with some performance upgrades. The cammed 302 engine and new carburetor suggest that it's ready to hit the road and provide an exciting driving experience. 9. We've got a real treat for you. A 1981 Chevrolet El Camino that's currently available for sale at a price of $18,900. First, let's go over the basic details. This El Camino has been driven for 78,321 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It comes with an automatic transmission, making it easy to operate. The exterior is finished in a sleek black color, which is matched by the interior, giving it a classic and stylish look. The vehicle runs on gasoline and has had 3 or more owners over the years. Now let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's condition. The seller describes it as a great El Camino with a solid body, which suggests that it's been well maintained and hasn't suffered from significant rust or damage. They also mention that it has a 350 Chevy engine under the hood, which is a popular choice for this model and should provide plenty of power. The seller emphasizes that you must see the El Camino in person to fully appreciate it, which is always a good sign. It suggests that they're confident in the vehicle's condition and appearance. It's worth noting that the seller is open to negotiation on the price, but only if you have cash in hand and are physically present. They also mention that financing is available, which could be a good option for those who don't want to pay the full amount up front. The seller also states that the vehicle has a clean title and is fully paid off, which means that the buyer won't have to worry about any outstanding financial obligations or title issues. They also report that there is no significant damage or problems with the vehicle, which is reassuring. Overall, this 1981 Chevrolet El Camino seems like a solid find for anyone in the market for a classic vehicle with a strong engine and a clean bill of health. The low mileage and solid body suggest that it's been well cared for over the years, and the seller's confidence in the vehicle is a good sign. 10. We're going to take a closer look at a 1985 Chevrolet C10 that's currently up for sale at a price of $22,000. First off, let's talk about the basics. This C10 has only been driven for 21,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a vehicle that's nearly 40 years old. It comes equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive. The exterior is finished in a sleek black color, giving it a classic and timeless look. Now, let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's condition. The seller states that the C10 is in very good condition and works perfectly, which is always reassuring to hear. They also mention that it has a beautiful sound, suggesting that the engine is running smoothly and has been well maintained. One of the standout features of this C10 is the set of 22-inch wheels, which give it a modern and stylish look. The seller also notes that it has a good audio system, which is a nice bonus for those who enjoy listening to music while driving. It's worth noting that the seller doesn't provide any information about the interior color or condition, so that's something to keep in mind when considering this vehicle. However, given the low mileage and overall good condition, it's likely that the interior has been well cared for as well. The seller also mentions that the C10 comes with a clean title and all the necessary paperwork, which is always a good sign. It suggests that the vehicle has a clear history and hasn't been involved in any major accidents or issues. Overall, this 1985 Chevrolet C10 seems like a fantastic find for anyone in the market for a classic truck with low mileage and some modern upgrades. The 22-inch wheels and good audio system add a touch of style and convenience, while the clean title and perfect working condition provide peace of mind. 11. We've got an interesting find. A 1983 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 regular cab that's currently available for sale at a price of $8,500. First, let's go over the basic details. This Silverado has been driven for only 65,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a vehicle that's almost 40 years old. It comes with an automatic transmission, making it easy to operate. The exterior is finished in a classic red color, giving it a timeless and eye-catching look. Now, let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's condition and features. The seller mentions that this is a C10 long bed model, which means it has plenty of cargo space for hauling or transporting larger items. Under the hood, you'll find a 355 cubic inch engine paired with a 700 R4 transmission, which should provide ample power and smooth shifting. One of the standout features of this Silverado is the interior, which the seller describes as being in excellent condition. It comes equipped with power windows and locks, which is a nice convenience feature for a vehicle of this age. The seller also mentions that it has air conditioning, but it currently needs to be charged since it was discharged during a dryer replacement. The seller has also made some upgrades to the wheels and tires, installing new tires on 17-inch wheels. This not only improves the overall look of the truck, but also provides better traction and handling. It's worth noting that the seller doesn't provide any information about the interior color, so that's something to keep in mind when considering this vehicle. However, given the excellent condition of the interior and the low mileage, it's likely that it has been well cared for over the years. Overall, this 1983 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 regular cab seems like a solid find for anyone in the market for a classic truck with low mileage and some nice features. The 355 engine and 700 R4 transmission should provide a great driving experience, while the power windows and locks add some modern convenience. The new tires and wheels are also a nice touch. 12. We're going to take a closer look at a 1985 GMC Jimmy Sierra Classic that's currently up for sale at a price of $11,500. First off, let's talk about the basics. This Jimmy has been driven for 100,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It comes equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive. The exterior is finished in a nice blue color, which is matched by the interior, giving it a cohesive and stylish look. The vehicle runs on gasoline and is reported to be in good condition overall. Now let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's history and recent maintenance. The seller mentions that they had intended to work on this Jimmy as a project with their daughter, but due to her being busy in LA, they have decided to sell it. The engine has been rebuilt, and the body is said to be in good shape, making it a great starting point for someone looking to take it to the next level. The seller has provided a detailed list of work that was done on the vehicle in December 2024 at Crown Hill Automotive in Seattle, WA. This includes a complete mechanical inspection, which revealed a few items that needed attention, such as remaking the catalytic converters, addressing leaks in the rear differential cover, oil pan, and valve cover gaskets, as well as recommending an oil change and replacement of front brake pads and rotors. It's important to note that the inspection also mentioned that the tires are from 2001, which means they are quite old and will likely need to be replaced for safety reasons. The sway bar bushing was also reported as bad, and the battery cable, plus end, needed replacing. The seller has addressed some of these issues, including servicing the rear differential and replacing the gasket, shimming the starter, topping off the transfer case oil, replacing the battery cable NDS, and replacing the front brake rotors and pads. They have provided a detailed list of the parts used and the associated costs. 13. We've got an interesting find, a 1981 Ford F-150 that's currently available for sale at a price of $3,000. First, let's go over the basic details. This F-150 has been driven for 150,000 miles, which is not uncommon for a truck of this age. It comes with a manual transmission, which is great for those who enjoy a more engaging driving experience. The exterior and interior are both finished in a blue color, giving it a classic and cohesive look. Now, let's dive into the seller's description to get a better understanding of the vehicle's condition and recent maintenance. The seller starts off by saying that this is a great running truck, which is always reassuring to hear. They mention that the carburetor has been recently rebuilt, which suggests that the engine has been well maintained and should run smoothly. The seller also notes that the tires have about 75% tread remaining, which is a good indication that they have plenty of life left in them. They describe the truck as being pretty straight for its age, which implies that it hasn't been involved in any major accidents or suffered from significant rust or body damage. It's worth noting that this F-150 is a 2WD model, which means it may not be the best choice for those who need to tackle tough off-road conditions. However, the seller mentions that it has Kingpin I-beams and a Ford 9-inch rear end, which are known for their durability and reliability. The seller goes on to say that this is one of the most reliable trucks they've owned and that it has never let them down. This is a strong endorsement of the vehicle's dependability and suggests that it has been well cared for over the years. Interestingly, the seller mentions that they are open to trading the truck for something else, but they are also willing to sell it for the right cash offer. This could be a good opportunity for someone who has something to trade or is looking for a reliable classic truck at a reasonable price. Overall, this 1981 Ford F-150 seems like a solid find for someone who appreciates classic trucks and values reliability. The recent carburetor rebuild and good tire tread are definite positives, and the seller's endorsement of its dependability is encouraging. 14. We're taking a closer look at a 1981 GMC 1500 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $14,000 for this classic pickup truck, and based on the description and photos, it seems to be in pretty good shape. According to the seller, this GMC 1500 has only been driven 39,987 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive, and the exterior is finished in a clean white paint job, while the interior is done up in black. Under the hood, you'll find a small block Chevy 5.0-liter V8 engine, which should provide plenty of power for cruising around town or hitting the highway. The seller mentions that they've recently installed a new distributor, brake booster, and master cylinder, so it seems like they've been taking good care of the mechanical components. One of the standout features of this truck is the custom paint job, which gives it a unique look that's sure to turn heads. The bed has also been sprayed with a bed liner, which is a great practical touch for anyone who plans on using this truck for hauling or work purposes. Inside, the seller notes that the interior has been redone, so it should be a comfortable place to spend time. They also mention that everything is in working order, including the intermittent wipers and even the air conditioning, which is a nice bonus for a truck of this age. Perhaps most impressively, the seller claims that this 1981 GMC 1500 is a true survivor, with no rust on any of the panels. That's a rare find for a truck that's over 40 years old, and it speaks to the level of care and maintenance that this vehicle has received over the years. Overall, while the $14,000 asking price might seem a bit steep for an older truck, this 1981 GMC 1500 seems to be in excellent condition and has a lot of desirable features. If you're in the market for a classic pickup with plenty of character and a clean bill of health, this could be a great option to consider. Just be sure to get it checked out by a mechanic before making any final decisions, as with any used vehicle purchase. 15. We're checking out a 1977 GMC Sierra that's up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has set the price at $8,500, which could be a decent deal depending on the truck's overall condition. This Sierra has racked up 133,232 miles over its lifetime, which is not uncommon for a truck of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, making it a breeze to drive, and the exterior is finished in a bold red color that's sure to stand out on the road. The interior is also decked out in red, giving the cabin a cohesive look. Under the hood, you'll find a beefy 454 engine paired with a TH400 transmission. The seller has also installed a 750 Holley high-performance carburetor and an electric fuel pump, which should help this truck pack a serious punch in terms of power and performance. One thing to note is that the seller mentions the transmission is in need of repair, which is why they're selling the truck. They don't have the funds to fix it at the moment, so that's something to keep in mind if you're considering making an offer. It's always a good idea to factor in potential repair costs when buying a used vehicle, especially one that's over 40 years old. On the bright side, the seller does state that this 1977 GMC Sierra comes with a clean title and has no significant damage or problems beyond the transmission issue. The plates are also paid up until 2025, which is a nice bonus. Overall, this truck could be a solid project for someone who's handy with repairs and wants a classic pickup with plenty of character. The 454 engine and performance upgrades are definitely appealing, but the transmission issue is something to carefully consider before making a decision. 16. We're taking a look at a 1985 Chevrolet 2500 that's currently listed on Facebook Marketplace for $8,500. This classic pickup truck has a lot going for it, but there are a few things to keep in mind before making an offer. First off, the seller mentions that this Chevy 2500 has only been driven around 30,000 miles, which is incredibly low for a truck of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, and the exterior is finished in a subtle gray color, while the interior is done up in blue. Under the hood, you'll find a fresh crate motor that the seller estimates has only around 8 to 9K miles on it. This engine is paired up with a TH400 transmission, which is known for its durability and strength. So, in terms of mechanical components, this truck seems to be in good shape. However, the seller does note that the truck needs to pass a smog test in order to complete the registration process, even though the tags are paid up until 2025. This is something to keep in mind if you're considering making an offer, as it could add some additional costs and hassle to the buying process. In terms of the interior, the seller mentions that it's mostly complete, but there are a few minor plastic pieces missing. This is not uncommon for a truck of this age, and it shouldn't be too difficult or expensive to source replacement parts if needed. As for the price, the seller is asking $8,500 or best offer, which seems fairly reasonable given the low mileage and fresh engine. They also mention that they're open to trades, specifically for a Duramax, 2nd or 3rd Gen Dodge, 6.0 or 7.3 engine. So if you have one of those vehicles lying around and are in the market for a classic Chevy pickup, this could be a great opportunity to make a deal. Overall, this 1985 Chevrolet 2500 seems like a solid truck with a lot of potential. It has low miles, a fresh engine, and a clean title, which are all big pluses. The main drawbacks are the needed smog test and the bodywork dark paint, but if you're up for a bit of a project, this could be a great buy. As always, be sure to get a thorough inspection done by a trusted mechanic before making any final decisions. And don't be afraid to negotiate on price or trade options if you're serious about making this truck yours. 17. We're checking out a 1974 GMC 1500 that's up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has set the price at $8,500, which could be a fair deal for a classic truck like this, but there are a few things to consider before making an offer. First off, it's important to note that this GMC 1500 has been around the block a few times, with the seller reporting that it's driven about 300,000 miles. While high mileage isn't necessarily a deal breaker for a truck of this age, it's definitely something to keep in mind when evaluating the overall condition and value of the vehicle. On the plus side, this truck comes with an automatic transmission, which makes it easy to drive and could be a selling point for some buyers. The exterior is finished in a classic red color, while the interior is done up in a neutral beige tone. The seller doesn't provide a ton of details about the truck's mechanical condition or any recent repairs or upgrades, so that's something you'll definitely want to inquire about if you're seriously considering making an offer. However, they do mention that the vehicle has no significant damage or problems, which is a good sign. One thing that's a bit unclear from the listing is the title status of the truck. The seller notes that the vehicle is paid off, but they don't explicitly state whether it has a clean title or not. This is definitely something you'll want to clarify before moving forward with any purchase. As for the seller's description, it's pretty brief and to the point, Classico. This could be interpreted a few different ways, but it seems to suggest that this is a classic truck that's been well loved and well used over the years. Overall, this 1974 GMC 1500 could be a solid choice for someone who's in the market for a vintage pickup truck with plenty of character. The high mileage and lack of detailed information about the truck's condition are definitely things to consider. But if you're handy with repairs and don't mind putting in some work to get this truck back to its former glory, it could be a rewarding project. 18. We're taking a closer look at a 1973 Ford F-150 that's currently for sale on Facebook Marketplace. The seller is asking $5,000 for this classic pickup truck, which could be a great deal depending on its overall condition. According to the seller, this F-150 has only been driven 67,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to drive, and the exterior is finished in a subtle gray color, while the interior is done up in blue. Under the hood, you'll find a 460 engine that the seller says only has 30,000 miles on it. However, it's important to note that the seller mentions the engine is not currently running and needs an HEI distributor installed. This is definitely something to keep in mind if you're considering making an offer, as it could add some additional costs and work to get the truck up and running. On the bright side, the seller does mention that the truck has brand new tires and brake pads, which is a nice bonus. They also note that it has a brand new 7 psi fuel pump, so it seems like they've put some work into maintaining and upgrading certain components of the vehicle. As for the title status, the seller states that the vehicle is paid off and has a clean title, which is always a good sign when buying a used vehicle. Overall, while the $5,000 asking price might seem like a good deal for a classic Ford pickup, it's important to factor in the potential costs and work involved in getting the engine running properly. If you're handy with repairs and don't mind putting in some extra effort, this could be a great project truck to take on. However, if you're looking for a truck that's ready to drive off the lot without any additional work, this might not be the best choice for you. As always, it's a good idea to get a thorough inspection done by a trusted mechanic before making any final decisions, and don't be afraid to negotiate on price if you feel like the asking price is a bit high given the truck's current condition. 19. We're taking a look at a rare find on Facebook Marketplace, a 1978 Ford F-250 crew cab pickup truck. The seller has set the price at $9,500, which might seem a bit steep at first glance, but there are a few factors to consider with this unique vehicle. First off, it's important to note that this is a 1-ton, 2-wheel drive truck with a spacious crew cab configuration. According to the seller, this is one of the rarest Ford truck models out there, which could make it a valuable find for the right buyer. Under the hood, you'll find a massive 460 cubic inch engine paired with a C6 automatic transmission. The seller also mentions that the truck has dual fuel tanks, which is a nice feature to have for extended trips or heavy-duty hauling. However, it's crucial to point out that the seller is very upfront about the truck's current condition. They clearly state that the vehicle has rust and needs to be restored. This is not a truck that's ready for daily driving, and it will need to be towed to its new home. The seller also mentions that they will not answer any questions via Facebook Messenger, and interested buyers must be prepared to purchase the truck in person with cash in hand. This might be a bit of a red flag for some buyers, as it's always a good idea to ask plenty of questions and get a thorough inspection done before making a significant purchase like this. In terms of the truck's history, the seller notes that it has had 2 owners and has been driven around 200,000 miles. While this is relatively high mileage for a classic truck, it's not necessarily a deal breaker if the vehicle has been well maintained over the years. The exterior of the truck is finished in a classic white color, while the interior is done up in blue. The seller doesn't provide any photos of the interior, so it's hard to gauge its condition without seeing it in person. Overall, while the $9,500 asking price might seem a bit high for a truck that needs significant restoration work, the rarity and unique features of this 1978 Ford F-250 crew cab could make it a worthwhile investment for the right buyer. If you're a skilled mechanic or have experience with vehicle restoration, This could be a great project truck to take on. 20. We're checking out a 1979 Chevrolet El Camino that's up for grabs on Facebook Marketplace. The seller has set the price at $10,000, which might seem a bit steep at first glance, but there are some interesting features and upgrades to consider with this classic ride. First off, the seller mentions that this El Camino has been driven just 99,000 miles, which is relatively low for a vehicle of this age. It's equipped with an automatic transmission, making it easy to cruise around town or hit the highway. The exterior of the car is finished in a bold blue color, while the interior is done up in a rich brown tone. The seller notes that the car has been outfitted with National New interiors, which suggests that the cabin has been refreshed with some high-quality upgrades. But the real star of the show here is under the hood. The seller has performed an LS swap, dropping in a 5.3-liter engine that's reportedly putting out an impressive 400 horsepower. That's a serious amount of power for a car like this, and it's sure to make for an exhilarating driving experience. The seller also mentions that the car has a positive differential lever shaft, which could be a reference to a performance-oriented rear-end setup. This is the kind of upgrade that enthusiasts and collectors tend to appreciate. In terms of the car's overall condition, the seller doesn't provide a ton of details in the listing. They do mention that the car has many extras, but don't go into specifics about what those extras might be. Without seeing more photos or getting a closer look at the car in person, it's tough to gauge its true condition. One thing to note is that the seller is located in Rosarito, which could be a bit of a trek depending on where you're located. They're open to either selling the car outright or trading it for something else, so if you have a vehicle you're looking to swap, this could be an opportunity to explore. Overall, while the $10,000 asking price might seem a bit high for a 1979 El Camino, the LS swap and other performance upgrades could make it a worthwhile investment for the right buyer. If you're an enthusiast who appreciates classic style with modern power under the hood, this car could be right up your alley.